Welcome to Capital Academy. Capital Academy is our talk show after a pitch event where presenters tell us their story, we ask questions, but then we want to talk about more of what's going on with the company and what's going on and engage other members that may have been in the audience. So on this segment of Capital Academy, we have Alain Briancon, who is a co-founder of Kitchology and an experienced pitcher, an experienced presenter. And here we have Deb Shalom, who is interested in presenting and pitching and wanted to be able to engage in the conversation to find out how that goes. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me on Capital Academy. And I'm just interested in digging into what we've seen today and then going into some questions. So Alain, I will start with you. You gave a great presentation today. I have seen you present before, and I know that you are, I'll call it the circuit, are on the circuit as it relates to various pitch events and utilizing a pitch strategy. Can you first speak about the strategy that you utilize in order to engage in various pitch events?
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for saying I'm on the pitching circuit, not the pitching circus. Our strategy is one of all the opportunities. Different investors or different members of the ecosystem or different suppliers, accountant, lawyers and like, are going to go to different events. So we've been purposefully entering just about every contest and just about every pitch event we can. Now, some people, unlike you, are asking for atrociously high money in order to present, and we typically shy away from it because we want a return on that pitching investment. But our approach has been that you never know when an investor could be, and because of our specific business, you'll never know when a member of the ecosystem, both from a potential customers or a strategic partner, will come about. And so we apply often. At time I pitch with Iris Sherman, my co-founders. At time I pitch alone. At time she pitches alone. And we try to do that as best we can and as often as we can.
Okay, and so I will ask, as it relates to the pitch me that you participated in today, how did you feel going into that? What are any differences, if any, in other pitch events that you've done? Give me a general sense of your presentation today.
Thank you. This was one where the presence of the camera was more obvious for us. I've been at pitching events where I'm being taped. Mava is one of them, and other events. So this one, the constraint, the presence of the camera was a more obvious one. This was one of the most intimate one, and welcome it. I mean, it's one thing to present in front of 200 and 300 people, but it's another one to be more intimate. And while hopefully this video gets seen by many, it allows me, I don't want to speak for Iris, to be more comfortable trying a different angle, because it's not, if the point falls flat, it's not going to be, 1,000 people looking at you. What's with them, type of a deal. So, and the mixture of people participating is, different, because you always meet different entrepreneurs. And to me, there is the pitching event. There is the opportunity it presents with respect to investors and the like, but there is always the meeting other entrepreneurs. I'm on the older side of entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm at I'm 56. And it's always great to be around people in their 20s and their 30s. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur is difficult. Creating a business is difficult. But I said many times, I deal with the stress of being an entrepreneur by being around other entrepreneurs and build on their energy and provide whatever help and advice I can get help and advice. And that's always, to me, a very important part of events such as yours.
Thank you.
Hello, Iris Sherman, co-founder of Kitchology's been on a roll this year. We've done very well. We have won a number of accolades. We were Incubator Company of the Year for 2016. We most recently won a pitch contest in the retail innovation space, as well as a number of accolades.
We make money out of two principal ways, and we've been very careful to design this platform to allow multiple revenue streams to be developed over time and being able to pivot based on what trends are
So
taking.
I know that you're new to the pitching events, and I know that while you've done various businesses, you have a particular one in mind that you thought it made sense. So help me to understand, how did you feel coming in, watching this event, what went on, listening to someone experienced in it? What are your thoughts or any questions that you might have for Alain?
Well, I see it's helped me to understand what I need to learn so that I can get up in front of people and explain what I need and how to explain my business clearly so that other people can see, what it's all about. I think I'm pretty good at that now, but I can see that I need to hone the presentation, which I've been working on, but now I see how it's, how professional it can be. I'm interested in how often have you, every time you get up and do it, is it the same pitch or do you tailor it?
It's tailored. The presentations, we have a core strategy document where we capture everything, and the master presentation is now north of 300 slides. Mm-hmm. So definitively we pick and choose, and this is the 122nd version of the short deck. So evidently there's a lot of customization. I think it's always different because the people who are coming are going to be different, and then you read the room differently, so you know what to articulate or not. I think there is, in our case, because I've been working with Farris so many years, we know what point she's going to feel comfortable with, which point or not. So, for instance, on the Q&A, certain questions will naturally being answered by her, others will be naturally by me, and that's an important part of the pitch as well. I think there is, you talk about owning your pitch. I would own the pitch up to 80%, but rarely challenge myself to answer wild questions that are coming through. There was a very good question on the strategy to how do you position yourself to be acquired that came today, and that's one we've heard, but it's on the rare side of things, so you have to be prepared for those. And I think that with any transaction, this is like dating, you have to kind of appear appealing and what have you, and then the beginning of the engagement does. So while people focus a lot on the pitch itself, Farris and myself focus ourselves a lot on the Q&A. Every question and answer we get from one of those contests you go to, we capture in Evernote. Every this was right, this was wrong, we capture also, so that we developed this repertoire, and then some things go by the wayside because they're no longer used and because we've pivoted. So I would focus on the Q&A aspect of things and get friends and people. When you go through a pitching event, the question they ask you on the side are just as important, if not more important, than the pitch itself.
One is, have you generated any revenue to this point, and what are your underlying assumptions for the revenue that you're anticipating in 2017?
Cumulative will be by the end of the year around $41,000, give or take 1,000. The assumptions that we are making is that we have a base of ad server, ad network based revenue coming on the web and on the blog, and we assume this to probably be $80,000 to $90,000 given the traffic we've been getting and the CPM we've been experiencing. We're doing a lot of experimentation between that ad network and that ad network. We don't trust anyone with rates, so we always challenge them. The next level will be a series of commodity boards that would extend their platform in order to enhance their marketing effort. We are not yet included in this what could be a significant engagement with a major wellness company in the second half of next year. I was there at literally the day before Thanksgiving, and we're in the beginning of discussion about how we could take their platform as part of their platform. So a baseline on the advertising and the beginning of sale to 3 either big companies or commodity boards, and then the rest would be an upside, which we have not yet forecasting because they are really driven by business development.
And along with what Alain is saying, because you two have engaged with the initial application process to possibly be considered to present on Pitch Me. As he's talking about the questions that you need to know, that is one of the points of having to go through a qualification process to be on Pitch Me, because oftentimes entrepreneurs know what they know and they know what they want to convey. Where iBoss is looking to help with some structuring in that dynamic is to help you focus on what the investor needs to know. So understanding some of the preliminary due diligence questions and things of that nature not only can help you to do that, but it might give you some thought processes of what to put in your slide deck.
Right.
Have you considered in your thoughts of pitching what your slide deck might need to look like?
Yeah, the questions that I was asked that I had not necessarily considered were questions about return on investment and lots of questions that were much more financially focused than, I mean, I had obviously crunched the numbers. I knew on my business where the where I was spending money, where I was going to earn money, but I hadn't thought of it from necessarily an investor's point of view. Though I knew down the line I was hoping to get investment money at some point, I hadn't been focused on what would an investor want to know. So those things I suddenly had to start thinking about.
Right.
So that has been very helpful. This was all just kind of recently introduced to me, though, so I'm only just starting to think about it. But it definitely has started me thinking in that direction, and I can see that I have to start thinking in a different way about how to think about the financial side of the business.
I'll tell you, when I'm consulting with companies, one of the things that I like to sort of impress upon them is that when you're building a business, you build to your exit.
Absolutely.
You need to understand where you're going, because that's how you can put pieces in place to help guide and direct the path that you're going to take. If I have a company who is basically building their widget where it makes sense for a legacy business, but then they say to me, I've considered doing an IPO, then I know that they're kind of not understanding some process in getting there. So along that lines of building to your exit, and as I look at your model, in doing the various pitch events that you're engaged in, is there a success level that you can speak of? And I don't know that I'm asking a success level by way of how many investors, because I believe a good pitch strategy is one that helps you build your database of potential investors, because they may not be interested today, but if they may not be interested in investing today. But if you've opened the door to interest, they want to watch you, they want to follow you, they want to see that you hit your milestones, things of that nature. They especially want to see you close the A round, because now they're ready to step in for the B round. So that's the context I'm trying to find. How well have you been able to develop a database of potential investors by utilizing a pitch strategy?
That's a good question. One thing, by the way, to finish the previous point, I think your questionnaire allows you to think about the things you don't know. And I think one of the greatest danger is thinking that you know what you don't know, when every now and then you don't know what you don't know. And that's the most difficult gap. Now, to go to your pitching strategy, to us, any interaction with a investor or group and what have you is part of an integrated strategy. We keep track of close to 1,200 investors that we've either corresponding to, putting, presented or sent a verbal deck, a presentation-oriented deck versus a more detail-oriented deck. And we have a CRM system, it's in Excel, no big deal, to keep track of, this is a monthly update, this is a quarterly update. We take advantage of one of the reasons we're going to contest is, and we won, for instance, Creative Business Cup in the United States, which no one has heard about. I certainly had no clue this existed 4 months before it. But okay, it's an event, it's a little video, and it allows you to re-engage and say we've made progress when we talk about pivots. So we communicate to investors, we bucketize them, number 1 guy, number 2, number 3, number 5. We have 9 for people that said no. Wow. We have many 9s. We use pitch events, and we use the presence, of something that can be downloaded on YouTube or Vimeo or whatever you to say, by the way, where there is a progress, this is what worked and this is what doesn't. When we designed this strategy with Iris, we had met through a previous startup, we started from the exit strategy. And a lot of people says, oh, come on already. No, we're in our 50s. We're going to start with the exit strategy because I promise it's the last startup I'm doing, although maybe not. Yes, but my family has heard that promise before.
Exit strategy. So whether it's 3 to 5 years, whatever the length of years, what is the exit strategy for Kitchology?
Big is, of course. We're looking into 2018, 2019 as the likely time frame, and I think it will depend on the kind of strategic partners we get. If it's a technology company, they might move earlier. If it's a technology company, and I'm just naming name by example, not insinuating any relationship like My Web Grocer or Catalina, that might be a little later on so they can integrate with their platform. I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I used to have hair when I started this business. So we're not, we don't want to run this for 4 or 5 years and get out there. So 2018, 2019 strike us as the right time frame, and we are carefully and being very transparent with some of those partners with respect to where we are from a technology point of view, because we realize that the monetization of the analytics, others have done it better than we do, so why reinvent things? With respect to customization of the app, we shouldn't preclude what a Kroger could do if it were to white label, use it conceptually. So we will be driven, we believe, by the early strategic investors or strategic partners, and there will most likely be the exits, which is one of the reasons we talk to many different companies, because we don't know who is going to see that as a differentiator.
But we have a lot of 5s, so we're happy. And then we realized there would be a lot of events taking place, that what we knew in 2013 would be different than what's coming now. So I think that investors that are serious or ecosystem partners who are serious from an exit point of view, analytics company in our case, or retailing companies and the like, if you present too rosy of a picture, you knew then what is going on now, they will smell BS. Right. And as soon as they smell BS, the dollars go that way. I mean, no one would have predicted 3 years ago that Amazon would have a grocery store where there's no checkout and you just go with your phone and what have you. And anybody who did is, telling tales. So our approach has been, we're not perfect. We're going to listen, even though we're in our 50s, we have the coachable terms. And then we're going to communicate the good and the bad. And so far, some investors want to know exactly what we're going to go. Says, you said you were going to make 15, are you going to make 35? What does it mean? And we know they're never going to invest. Right. Or it's a very high threshold, or if they are such a pain, at that moment, they're going to be a bigger pain the day we say, we want to go to a B round, and guess what? Right. You're going to get a 2-time preferential to the investors. But what we found is when you're transparent with folks, and you ask for their advice, and you reflect back to them what you've learned, they'll give you a lot of rope. Right. And you just have to make sure you don't strangle yourself.
I do find that investors want to, and let me fix that, on the angel investor side of the fence, because once you start going into VCs and things of that nature, right, the story gets different. But I do find that on the angel investor side of the fence, they want to do more than just put their money in.
Absolutely.
They want to engage, they want to help, they want to guide, they want to direct. And for a company, you got to know how far. There are some investors that want to be engaged, and there are others that want companies that really can do their thing and just utilize them. But the point is, they come in all different size and scopes. But as we're about to wind down, Deb, if there is anything else you have, a question about that you think you might want to hear from a fellow entrepreneur who's stepping into this space, please.
What do you think the chances are that you're going to get the funding that you need and that your business is going to be a success?
I'm a contrarian. I don't probabilize things. This round is taking closer to execute than what we had thought for multitudes of reasons. If figuring out a probability is going to help me do a better job, then I'll work on it. If not, it is a waste of my time. The only thing I know for sure is I don't have a lot of time. So, there are folks that like the 23 DNA, and I'm going to figure out if I have a bigger propensity for liver cancer. And if I know, can I do something about it? No. Then, don't learn about it. So we work hard. We look into integrating the feedback. We also look into giving back at times, because if you've been around the block, but I don't try to probabilize it. We are transparent with our team. Our team knows everything going on, cash in, cash out, investors, this went well, this didn't went well. We applied to something recently, we got turned down, because they have a sure ownership into the outcome. And my belief is if you have alignment between management, investors, would-be investors, and your team, then you're more likely to be successful. Is it better by 5%, 7%, 8.13? I don't know, and it doesn't really matter. But I think the purpose of alignment is a very important one. And even to your point, we have investors that are in the funnel, and we have, TEDCO has helped us, the Technology Council of Maryland has helped us, and others, and we give them an update. And actually, a would-be investor says, you're sending too many emails. It's like, wait until you put your money in and you'll get more. Well, she'll get the same amount because it's just one list, but it's a good story to tell. And I think alignment of purpose and admitting what you know and you don't know is 90% of what you need to do.
How are you going to entice retailers to help you monetize your concept? And how are you going to entice buyout candidates from now? In other words, are you going to build the company? Give me some understanding of how you're going to build the company based on what the requirements for a buyout is going to be down the road.
To be honest, until 6 months ago, the retailers as a go-to-channel strategy was not one we were contemplating as a high priority. We engaged into this contest with this organization called CART. And CART does technology front-end work for us, and 250 applied, and we finished second, which is like silver medal. We're not Michael Phelps, but we'll go for it. And this is where the discussion with the review panels that were grocers came over and over and over again. So we knew there was an opportunity for them to extend their platform. There are 2 or 3 platforms, one from IBM, one from Catalina Marketing, one from My Web Grocer that could be extended. So the enticement for them is it reaches out to the consumer in a new space inside the home. They can reuse their content. This platform has been architected to reuse existing content so many ways, it's kind of frightening. So their incremental cost of playing in is somewhat limited. And our approach there is to give away the business to a certain degree. At the beginning, $1 nominal, nothing is ever free, so it's only $1. See how it works, and then you work the way up. The way to open the pathway to multiple exit strategies is an interesting one because it goes into, do you focus, do you expand, and what have you. We have a very strong team. I mean, Luke and his team are absolutely fantastic, where the architecture of the backend that supports the app is managed by a different software team than the one on the app. So we can look at options and basically creating stubs that allow us to enable different models that will appear to others. We are on a regular communications with some of the key players, and that's the way we want to approach it. We've taken the bet that Amazon is going to be a winner, if not the winner. And so whenever there is a tool that they support from a software point of view, database point of view, and the like, that can be, what we can see it can be used for the Blue Cloud from IBM as well as Azure, we go for it and not develop an internal solution. That is the one area that is the trickiest to manage from a long-term strategic perspective for the buyout versus long-term. So we stayed away from, and got a good friend at Microsoft, ASP.NET and the like, to use software tools that are at least on 2 out of these 3 key platforms, and we believe it provides the foundation for someone acquiring us to say, you use commodity supplier for things that are commodity, and we are buying you for the value add that you have, which is our database with more than 500,000 substitution rules, the machine learning algorithm, some of them patented, some of them kept as trade secret. So things that we can buy and rent from others, which our acquirer would do as well. We basically go that way. So we focus on only developing the technology, which is a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alain.
Yes,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
you being here, and thank you so much, Deb.
you.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Capital Academy. If the information that you are hearing today is of value to you, it may be of value to someone else. We look forward to you sharing this information. And for anyone who is interested in understanding more of the intricate details of raising capital programs, iBoss has an accelerated program where we will do a lot of the training on how to utilize various provisions of the Jobs Act of 2012, which allows you to raise capital in the retail fashion. So again, thank you for joining Capital Academy. We look forward to seeing you and you sharing our information. Have a fabulous day.